This is the 10 o'clock news on KTBU Channel 2.
After waging a decade-long battle, some young residents of East Palo Alto celebrated a big victory tonight.
This hasn't been done before. Romic has finally been shut down.
Because we did something that we thought we couldn't do, right? That they thought we couldn't do. You're talking about high school dropouts, undocumented students, people who rent out of garages. These are the youngsters that shut down this castle. Yeah! Let this example be today, what we did today, let it be an example that the whole world could use. They can see this as the model of how to shut down a toxic race facility in a community of color.
People have said it was not BTSC, it was Yuka and the community because people said that it's Romic, people say it's BTSC, but everybody knows it was us.
Yeah, it was us!
Alright, so basically it's just props to us and props to all of y'all, props to everybody that helped, even the people that did a simple signature of a petition.
Yeah! Get me out of here, bitch!
Be a generation of people who are not going to know what Romic is, and that's because of the work that we're doing. So they might not know what Romic is, but I want folks to know that what made it possible.
Say the people.
But the bottom line is the power of the people can never be defeated. That's right. The power of the people can never be defeated.
About the people.
Around 1989, Romic applied for approval to expand. At that time, most people didn't even know that they were there and certainly didn't know what they did. And so it became obvious that they wanted more storage space and more larger tanks and all this sort of stuff. And there was a man named Charles Brewer, who kept saying we can't have them here, and so he and Pete started talking, and so the Romic campaign started because as we learned as little as we could about it, we discovered that the only time the city of East Palo Alto had any kind of say over what happened at Romic was through this building permit process. Other than that, all the control was outside of the city and outside of the county, really, the state and the federal government. So we were pressuring the city council not to give them permission to expand, and they voted, in fact, the city council voted to give them this permission. And even though we had a lot of petitions, and so from that grew a recall. Two of the people were on the city council were Pat Johnson and Warnell Coates, and we started a recall to get them out of office because they had actually defied what so many people wanted. And so that's how it started. We continued at every level to make our community and our community leaders aware of what we had and that we needed to get rid of them. Additionally, there were real problems, as you know, with the workers there. So we got to know some of the Cal OSHA staff, and we even testified at some of the hearings around Cal OSHA movement against Romic because of their lack of awareness of their own employees. That's where we worked again with Yuka. We went up to their headquarters, Cal OSHA's headquarters in San Mateo, and the people in the building said, "Who's in this building? We didn't know they were there." More and more people. So over the years, we just had to keep helping people in this community understand what we had here and that we had to get rid of it, and also trying to lead our leaders into that understanding, and that's been really tough.
I
feel like with the Romic campaign, we have to disprove a lot of things. We were up against a lot. We were up against institutions. We were up against businesses. We were up against people. I think somewhere always in the back of our head we had hope and we knew that it was going to happen. It was just a question of when it was going to happen and what it was going to take to make sure that we saw this victory through. I remember people joking that I hope I see it in my lifetime or my lifespan at UCA, and knowing, like reflecting back, knowing now how much patience it took and the diligence and commitment it had to take from a small group of committed people. I remember videotaping footage of the rally that we had, and we were entering into Cesar Chavez, Green Oaks, which is an elementary school where the hearing was going to be held. And we had something like 100 people at that rally, and we were all wearing these teal, turquoise, blue shirts. And as people were entering the parking lot chanting, it sounded like a sea. Like it was just it was soft at first, but began roaring as people came closer. It was a magnificent spectacle at that time, because I've been involved for so long, and to see all the people that became involved was powerful and inspiring, and people who showed their commitment to it.
My name is Rosa Solizano, and I live at 2481 Illinois Street. When it comes to getting a permit, excuses shouldn't be met. I mean, if they're responsible for many lives, then why they're not responsible enough to go and get a permit and quit playing games and making excuses? That's not right.
Youth is a continuation of my belief that somebody got to take my place. And I work with the youth, and I help them with the experience that I know and teach them everything that I know, and we're working together. So they're teaching me and I'm teaching them.
But people always say, oh, UCA's a training ground. Like if we were to make mistakes, like there wasn't bigger stakes that people didn't have in mind or something. But there are real stakes here, and it's not just about fighting or learning how to facilitate or learning how to whatever, speak in front of public and stuff. But we really want to get Romic out and stuff. And there are people who are just as passionate and just as intelligent and informed about it regardless of your age.
Remember East Palo Alto? East Palo Alto is a significant contribution to the African community. They're very concerned about the community, where you did not see a lot of people on the picket line. You did not see a lot of people circulating the petition. But there were people in the neighborhoods, people in cars, people at the barbershop, people in the bedroom, people in churches who actually donate money and actually would get people to come to their house and sign a petition. Where it looked like East Palo Alto is there's some isolation and separatism in the leadership and the volunteerism of East Palo Alto. That is totally incorrect. East Palo Alto is an organized community, and they would support any positive movement to save their community.
And for me, it's just really solidifying the point that, you know, environmental justice is possible. It's not all about, you know, fighting and fighting and fighting and not getting to that end point, but we're reaching that end point.
20 years ago, our parents said we don't want pollution in our community. Today, we're saying it as young people, we're saying it as East Palo Alto, we're saying it as a community. And guess what? We're ready to take community back.
Personally, it's taught me to look beyond myself, to look beyond what people see of East Palo Alto, to humble ourselves to look to something that is more sustainable. And so it's definitely taught me to take care of my surroundings and the people around me, my community. At the end of the day, that's what's going to remain.